I rather making a different documentary, like a poetic documentary. I don't see any bright future for students who are coming from schools like, any kind of schools, not just our school. I have this tendency to make maybe even a surreal documentary.
We've essentially never commissioned an art film. But I'd be surprised if in Canada it got a regular network broadcast. Maybe there's a slot on CBC or NFB, on TVO, but I'd be surprised, frankly, if even a Wim Wenders arts film got a network broadcast in Canada.
I have no hope whatsoever of anybody making art in a broadcast format. I don't believe anybody could be so foolish as to entertain the idea. Right? You make junk in a broadcast format. That's your job. Right.
What we're pitching, and so what we know are right now are what would mostly be called either reality or lifestyle television. They are most often either host or personality driven. They can veer into verite, but often are very, very formatted in terms of what is going to happen in each act and how resolution comes about. Show like Party Mamas, which we've done 65 episodes of for Slice, so it's a very successful series. These are mothers throwing parties for their offspring. The mothers are great. They have great personalities, but they're not Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie. They're fairly well-to-do housewives in Canada and the U.S. Turning that into a half hour of pretty darned entertaining television, I think, requires an amazing amount of talent.
The thing that you and your colleagues are probably most interested in is what they call vaguely point of view documentaries, where there's an authorial point of view. They're kind of verite documentaries done over time about interesting and quirky topics. Broadcast is not so interested in those at this stage.
What I see in TV or any other places that they're showing documentary films, they're just showing some narrative documentaries, which are, again, really traditional for me and, let's say, a little bit even boring.
The nature of television is delivering targeted audiences to broadcasters who are buying airtime. That television is a business. Television isn't an art form. Television, in terms of getting it financed and produced, is all about relationships.
And we have a pretty good relationship with most of Canada's major broadcasters.
It is not really easy to fight with this industry because this is a kind of factory. They are so close. So breaking these doors and going inside that industry is so difficult.
Come up with a fantastic concept, and certainly if you're coming to see a company like E1, a concept that is hopefully a serial idea that has great personalities, and pitch us on it, and if we like it, we'll be your co-producer and we'll make it with you.
Well, no, most of the big companies won't enter into a co-production deal with you. They'll make a deal where, if your idea goes, you'll get a job and maybe a share of the net profits. And the old joke in film and television is, a share of net profits plus $2.75 gets you on the subway. Increasingly what that means, and I was 20 days into shooting Webos War before I had any money at all from anybody. So increasingly what's happening is, if you want to do a documentary, great, go do it, right? Don't sit around waiting for somebody to give you money. Don't spend a lot of time filling out forms. Don't go into broadcasters pitching them pieces of paper because they're not interested.
Don't count on it as part of the next 2.5, 3 years of your life. And count on getting a lot of arts grants. Count on doing a lot of paperwork to scrounge money from a lot of different places to make it possible to make the film that you really, really want to make. In many ways, it's very liberating because you won't have a big broadcaster or a big production company like ours breathing down your neck about schedules and budgets.
It's never been easier to make documentaries, and it's never been easier to show them, right?
Maybe I end up to just making my personal documentary, and then, I don't know, maybe I just show it in some galleries or in some museums, or I really don't know what I will do with my documentaries.
The home for documentaries now is increasingly film festivals, iTunes, Netflix, DVD, educational and non-theatrical markets, with a TV pickup at some point along the way. You know, the thing is that broadcast is very, very ratings focused. Whether it's commercial or public broadcasting, everybody's looking at ratings. So, you know, we have to be realistic about what we're making. We're not making shows that are going to get Hockey Night in Canada numbers or US drama numbers. What we're doing is something that's for a minority taste.
If we continue to produce those traditional documentaries, narrative documentaries, we cannot change our audience taste. This is our duty, documentarians and broadcasters, both, to change this taste, you know. Otherwise, okay, after 100 years, we're still producing this documentary.